Hello and welcome to Starside Cafe, and today Aaron and I are counting down the games we are most excited to see more of at E3 2018. I'm ready to do this. I've got my list ready, and I want you to start us off with your number 5.
My number 5 is Division 2 gameplay. We haven't seen a single frame of Division 2. And I thought it was a beautiful game, Division 1. We played it for a while until it got kind of boring, but I liked the aesthetic of it. I liked the cool, in-game menu systems, and I enjoy a game. I enjoy a looter shooter. It was like Destiny, and so I want to see whatever the Division 2 is. They've definitely been working on it for a while, and is it still New York even? I mean, I don't know. I'm super interested to see Division 2 stuff because I think Division 1 was an exciting game, and they wanted to do so much stuff with it. At E3, they showed that thing where one of the people was on an iPad and they were playing the game with their friends, and they were playing as a drone that could see in the world, which is something that can maybe happen now because we've got Fortnite on iPad and stuff. It could have crazy integration. So my number 5 is Division 2 gameplay, which will be, I guess, at the Ubisoft press conference.
Yeah, I'm also pretty excited for that game. I think only enough to make it an honorable mention for me, but I like the idea of a competition for Destiny, and so I definitely want more of these games to push the envelope and make everybody sort of try to be better. And yeah, I enjoyed the Division when we were playing it. We just didn't get as into it as we did with Destiny, and then we missed all the add-ons for that, and so I'm curious whether the story, how much that matters, and are we behind or out of it at this point? Who knows? What is your number 5? My number 5 is a game that's not technically confirmed yet, Starfield. So this is more hopeful and maybe wishful thinking. I really want Bethesda to reveal Starfield. So the rumor is that a sci-fi RPG is being made by the Fallout and Elder Scrolls team at Bethesda, and it is under the title Starfield. And so I love the Elder Scrolls games. I love Fallout. I really like Bethesda as a studio and maker of RPG games. Mm-hmm. And Starfield is kind of, it would be I don't know, a dream come true, I guess. It's I loved Mass Effect, and Mass Effect was a space RPG thing, and I was always what Bethesda needs to do is make their own space RPG, because they're the only other company that was doing interesting stories and really good RPG mechanics and all of this. And I wanted them to make one that would compete with the Mass Effect series. And now, because BioWare messed that up so badly, and it's now sort of off the table for a while, Starfield could be that sort of replacement. So yeah, that's what I really, really want from Bethesda, and hopefully, I'm
pretty excited for that as well.
Hopefully, it becomes reality, and all of this rumoring and guessing has not been for nothing.
My number 4 is Anthem, basically another Division 2, but I love those looter shooters, and I think initially I was a little cold on Anthem because EA. But they're doing this apology tour basically this year, it seems like. So it seems like they've maybe learned their lesson a little bit. We'll see. But I'm very interested to see. We just saw a very vertical slice of getting a mission, doing the mission, getting the reward of last E3. And I want to see a hub world. I want to see menu systems. I want to see different armors you can get. I'm very excited to see more of Anthem.
Now, I promise you we didn't come up with these lists together. This is the first time either of us have heard each other's lists, but I also have Anthem at number 4. And it's because, even though I think, BioWare and EA have sort of been dragged through the mud recently based on everything that happened last year. But I still kind of like BioWare as a studio. I think they're good at storytelling, and I am very curious to see how they handle doing the looter shooter persistent world thing. They're better at storytelling than Bungie, so
yeah, that's true.
I'm very curious if we can get a Destiny that also has a compelling world and compelling characters and an interesting story, and if you can have some sort of player agency on that world, I think this could be the looter shooter that we have always wanted, basically. So I don't want to get my hopes too high for it, and I agree with you that EA is on this sort of apology tour. Battlefield 5 was a big part of that, where they talked about, there's no, you don't have to pay for DLC. All the DLC will be free. There's no loot boxes. There's no, they're not going to sort of nickel and dime the customer anymore. I think they really hurt themselves a lot with Battlefront 2, and so they are finally trying to turn that image around, and Battlefield 5 and Anthem, my hope is that those are going to be the games to sort of course correct. And so the big concern for Anthem, even more so than whether it was a good Destiny clone or not, was how much there was going to be a pay to win element, or loot boxes and things like that. And from the sound of it, they're going away from that. So that's very good. And I'm very excited to see more of it.
I would be hilarious if our next three are identical, but
I don't think they will be, but they'll probably be pretty close, actually.
So my number 3 is Cyberpunk 2077. Is that your number 3?
No.
Okay, good. Yeah, I'm super excited for this. I never really got in the Witcher game, but I know that they're lovingly made and super detailed and very fun. The company that makes them is super cool, and Cyberpunk is my favorite genre. So a really crazy Cyberpunk RPG of a really all the concept art looks great. Deus Ex are some of my favorite. It's one of my favorite franchises because it's just so interesting. Modding out your cyber implants and stuff, and I don't know. I have a lot of faith in CD Projekt Red, so Cyberpunk 2077 I think is going to be big time, big deal, and I'm super excited for the reveal of that.
All right, my number 3 is Ghost of Tsushima.
Oh yes,
because the trailer, we have only seen a cinematic trailer for this game, and it was very, very beautiful. It was it looked amazing, the cinematic trailer. So my hope is that it's going to be a very cinematic game as well. It's set in old Japan, and I want to say you play a samurai or some sort of ninja.
Seems like a samurai that turns ninja after being betrayed.
Yeah, something like that. I think it could be a very interesting story. The developer behind it is the developer of the Infamous game, so they have a pretty good track record. And yeah, I'm very curious to see what the gameplay is like of this. So I really want to see more about this game at E3.
Yes, I'm also excited for that. My number 2 is going to be on that same press conference, the Sony press conference. It's Death Stranding gameplay, which we're going to get. I'm super, super pumped for... I assume Kojima is going to be on stage, because it's going to be the first true game reveal, not just a cinematic, I think, of Death Stranding. It's one of the 4 games that Sony has said they're going to do deep dives on. So I'm very, very excited to see we've talked about this before. We've seen so much footage of cutscenes, but I still could not tell you second to second what you're going to be doing in the game. And he said oh yeah, it's going to have a crazy multiplayer element that's very unique, which I'm also what is that? So I don't know, that's my number 2.
Yeah, for all the reasons you just stated, Death Stranding is also my number 2.
Nice.
I was sure you were going to have it as your number 1, but Kojima's a very cinematic storyteller, and he's the one true auteur of the video game industry. And Yeah, the game looks crazy. I have no idea. Like, we've seen how many cinematic trailers now for this game?
3 at this point, I think. Maybe 4.
And I could still not tell you. I have no clue what the story is. I have no idea what the gameplay is going to be like. And yet, not only is there going to be gameplay at this E3, there is some sort of info about multiplayer or co-op, some sort of multiplayer element. And I'm very excited to find out what that is.
So my number 1 is not necessarily a game, but more a moment. I put as my number 1 the like one more thing moment in any press conference, which could be Starfield. It's basically the unknown. Like, I am just anticipating someone saying the phrase one more thing, or like, oh, there's one other thing we should talk about. Like, the one more thing moment is my number 1 most anticipated thing of any E3.
That's kind of a cheat, but I'll give it to you. Yeah, the one more thing moment is always pretty good, especially if it's something completely unexpected. And I'm definitely hoping there's some of those moments as well.
It could be Starfield. That could be my number 1, is like the Starfield reveal. That would be great, because that's what Bethesda does. Like, the one where they revealed Fallout 4, they did their whole press conference and they were like, oh yeah, one more thing. Fallout 4, Fallout Shelter. This is what's happening. So it could be... They've shown Rage and they've shown a couple other things. They do their whole press conference, and at the end, like, the lights are about to come up, and he's like, oh yeah, also Starfield. Here's what it is. Also Starfield Shelter for PS for Android.
Yeah, I actually, the more I think about it, the more I think that could be true, because Fallout 76 is supposedly scheduled for June or July, so this summer.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure Rage is big enough to be like their one major release for the fall. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it could very well be that they're gonna unveil Starfield as a one more thing at the very end of the show and just like blow everybody away. But who knows? Maybe it's too far out and they're not ready to show it yet, or maybe they'll just sort of tease it and it won't be ready. But that's not really a Bethesda style thing to do.
Yeah, they are very close-lipped.
Yeah. Anyway, my number 1, you've already mentioned it, Cyberpunk 2077.
Yes.
Because I'm also very into the cyberpunk genre. I'm very into that aesthetic. I would love to have like a Blade Runner, the game, you know?
Yeah. I'm sure it'll be influenced by that at least somewhat.
Yeah, like the visual aesthetic of Cyberpunk has always been very, very cool to me. So I'm super into it just based on that alone. But then also you have the fact that it's CD Projekt Red, who's this hailed company. Everybody loves them. And The Witcher 3 is supposedly like one of the best games to have come out on this console generation. People love it. I've played some of it. I haven't played all of it, but I did like what I played of it. So yeah, I'm way more into cyberpunk as a genre than the weird sort of fantasy thing that The Witcher had going on. So I think this could be way more up my alley than that game. So yeah, I'm very, very excited to see what that game's all about. Did you have any honorable mentions?
I would say Starfield was an honorable mention that I almost put on there. Also, like, the whole Nintendo press conference, like, who knows what that's going to be. Like, Smash is going to be great, and, like, they could reveal any number of things. Like, hey, this old game is now going to be on... I mean, another crazy thing, I don't know if this is true, this is probably fake, but we've talked about previously where I read that leak where Call of Duty Blackout, only the Blackout portion, the PUBG portion, is going to be available on Switch, which would be crazy.
Yeah.
I just feel like they have the ability to blow us out of the water with like crazy things coming to the Switch. So like the whole Nintendo press conference, I almost put as my number 1.
I definitely think they have some surprises in store for that Nintendo Direct that they do, and I think it's gonna be pretty fun to watch that one. So yeah.
Did you have honorable mentions?
I did. I had a few of them, actually. So I already mentioned The Division 2 was one of my honorable mentions. Fallout 76, I am a big fan of the Fallout games. This one's more of a multiplayer one. Feels like sort of a like offshoot thing, not like a full...
We don't know. I mean, that's unconfirmed.
We don't know for sure. It's not like but it doesn't feel like a full Fallout game, and maybe part of that is the fact that it's coming out over the summer, and it's not like their big fall release.
Also unconfirmed.
I guess that's true. But yeah, I'm excited to find out what that game is all about. And then also I had Black Ops for the Blackout mode. I want to see what that gameplay is like.
Very excited for that.
And then Metroid Prime 4.
Yeah, that's also something we haven't seen a single frame of, but we know it exists.
Yeah, we know it exists, but nobody knows anything about it. So just being able to see what that game is like is going to be, I think, pretty cool. And that's it. That's our top 5 most anticipated games of E3 2018. Leave us a comment and let us know what your most anticipated games of E3 2018 are. If you like the video, give us a like and follow us on Twitter at Starside Cafe and send us an email at starsidecafe@gmail.com. Thanks for watching.